Ambassador Cho Min-ae stepped into the massive chamber of Nexus Prime Station. The walls curved high above her head, reaching toward a dome made of clear metal that showed the stars beyond. 12 different alien species sat in a circle around her, their eyes, tentacles, and crystal formations all turned to watch her walk to the center. The station floated in empty space between star systems. No single race controlled it. For 200 years, it had been the meeting place for the Galactic Hegemony Council. Today, Cho Min-ae represented all of humanity in this ancient hall. She wore her best diplomatic uniform, dark blue with silver trim. Her hand stayed steady even though her heart beat fast. Something felt wrong about this meeting. The council had called for her with urgent messages, but they would not say why. The largest alien spoke first. Vexthari Queen Zilreth looked like a giant insect standing 3 meters tall on 6 legs. Her voice came through translation devices that made it sound cold and mechanical. "Human representative," the queen said. "We have watched your species for 2 centuries. We have seen your expansion across 47 star systems. We have counted your colonies, your ships, your weapons." Cho Min-ae bowed slightly. "The human race is honored by the council's attention. We hope our growth brings prosperity to all civilized species." A crystalline being next to the queen made a sound like breaking glass. This was Elder Mordun Kethvos, whose body looked like a walking diamond formation. When he spoke, light pulsed through his crystal structure. "Prosperity?" Kethvos said. "Your species breeds without control. You spread like a disease across worlds that took us millions of years to map and classify. You build cities where we see sacred ground." Other council members began speaking at once. Their voices mixed into a chorus of anger and fear. Cho Min-ae heard words like dangerous, aggressive, and primitive through the translation devices. "Queen," Zilreth raised one of her clawed arms. The chamber fell silent. "The council has reached a decision," she announced. "Humanity will withdraw from all worlds beyond your original system. You have 1 galactic standard year to remove your colonies, your ships, and your people. Return to the star you call Sol. Accept our guidance. Learn to control your expansion." Cho Min-ae felt the blood drain from her face. "Your Majesty, 47 systems hold over 800 million human beings. These are their homes, their farms, their families. You ask us to abandon everything we have built." "We do not ask," Kethvos said. "We command." The queen gestured toward the chamber's main display. A hologram appeared showing a human cargo ship moving through space. It was the Silver Dawn, carrying supplies to the colony on Kepler 442b. "Observe," the queen said. A massive alien warship appeared on the display. It was shaped like a black blade longer than any human vessel. Energy gathered at its front end, glowing bright blue. "Wait," Cho Min-ae said. "That ship carries no weapons. Those are civilians." The alien weapon fired. The human cargo ship vanished in a flash of light and metal fragments. The chamber fell silent. Cho Min-ae stared at the empty space where the Silver Dawn had been. 12 human crew members had just died to make a point. "Your technology is crude," Queen Zilreth said. "Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are slow and weak. We could destroy every human world in a matter of days. This demonstration shows our mercy, not our strength." Elder Kethvos stepped forward. His crystal body caught the light from the dome above. "Your species evolved on a violent world. This makes you aggressive and dangerous. But it also makes you think you are stronger than you are. Today we show you the truth." Cho Min-ae forced herself to speak calmly. "The council has made its position clear. I will carry your message to Earth's government." "You will carry more than a message," the queen said. "You will carry proof of what happens to those who defy the hegemony." The display changed again. Now it showed detailed scans of human colonies, defense stations, and military bases. The aliens had been watching everything. They knew exactly where humans lived and how many ships protected them. "We know your Admiral Lee Hyun-sik commands your defense fleet," Queen Zilreth continued. "We know Dr. Park Yoon-ji leads your xenobiology research. We know President Kang Ji-hoon speaks for your homeworld. Tell them all that resistance is impossible. Another council member spoke for the first time. This alien looked like a floating jellyfish made of purple gas. Its voice sounded like wind through caves. The galaxy has rules, it said. Older species guide younger ones. The strong protect the weak. Order comes before chaos. Your species threatens this balance. How do we threaten you? Chomine asked. We trade with other species. We share our technology. We follow galactic law. You exist, Elder Kethvos said simply. Your population grows too fast. Your expansion never stops. In 200 years, you have spread farther than most species do in 10,000 years. This rate of growth cannot continue. Queen Zilrith moved closer to Chomine. Her insect eyes reflected the light from the dome. Your species must choose, she said. Accept limits on your growth and live under our protection, or refuse and face extinction. There is no third option. The Queen gestured again. The display now showed the massive hegemony fleet. Thousands of ships filled the screen, each one larger and more advanced than anything humanity had built. 1 year, the Queen repeated. Remove your colonies or we will remove them for you. Remove your ships or we will destroy them. Return to your system or we will send you back to the Stone Age of your violent little world. Chomine looked around the chamber one more time. 12 species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia stared back at her. Their technology was ancient and powerful. Their fleets numbered in the thousands. Their weapons could destroy planets. But something in their faces looked like fear. I will deliver your ultimatum, she said finally. But I cannot speak for humanity's response. Then speak for their survival, Elder Kethvos said, because that is what they must choose between. The meeting ended without ceremony. Chomine walked back through the curving corridors to her ship. Her mind raced as she prepared the message that would change everything. Behind her, the council members began arguing among themselves. Some wanted to attack immediately. Others insisted on waiting for humanity's response. But all of them agreed on one thing. The humans had to be stopped before they grew too strong to control. Queen Zilrith watched the human ambassador's ship leave the station. Something about the small human bothered her. Most species begged for mercy when facing the hegemony's power, but this one had shown no fear, only calculation. She will tell them to fight, Elder Kethvos said beside her. Let them try. The Queen replied. It will make their destruction more complete. But as she spoke, Queen Zilrith wondered why the thought of fighting humans made her feel uneasy. They were just another young species that needed to learn their place, weren't they? The emergency session convened in the deepest level of Earth's global defense complex. President Kang Ji-hoon sat at the head of a table surrounded by humanity's most important leaders. The room had no windows, only screens showing star maps and colony reports. Admiral Lee Hyun-sik studied the holographic display floating above the table. It showed the hegemony ultimatum in cold, clear text. 1 year to abandon everything humans had built beyond Earth's solar system. 800 million people, Dr. Park Yoon-ji said quietly. That's how many humans live on our colony worlds. The council wants us to abandon them all. General Yoon Sang-woo leaned forward in his chair. His weathered face showed decades of military service. They killed 12 civilians to make their point, destroyed the Silver Dawn like it was target practice. President Kang Ji-hoon looked tired. The weight of representing all humanity showed in his eyes. What are our options, Admiral? Lee Hyun-sik touched the display controls. The star map changed to show human military forces scattered across dozens of systems. We have 347 combat ships, he said. Most are patrol vessels and system defense platforms. The hegemony fleet numbers in the thousands. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. So we surrender? Asked Dr. Park Yoon-ji. No, the Admiral said firmly. We fight. Engineer Lim Da-eun had been quiet until now. She operated the room's main computer with quick, precise movements. There might be another way. All eyes turned to her. Lim Da-eun was young for her position, but her designs had revolutionized human space technology. Project Ragnarok, she said simply. President Kang Ji-hoon frowned. That project was classified beyond all normal levels. How do you know about it? General Yoon Sang-woo smiled grimly. Because I've been running it for 15 years. Show them, engineer. Lim Da-eun's fingers moved across the controls. The star map disappeared, replaced by technical drawings of weapons and ships unlike anything the others had seen. We knew this. Day would come, she explained. Not the details, but the reality. Humans expand fast. Other species would eventually see us as a threat. So we prepared. The first design showed a torpedo-shaped device covered in exotic sensors. Quantum disruption warheads, Lim Da-eun continued. They don't explode like normal weapons. They tear holes in space itself. One torpedo can disable an entire enemy fleet. Admiral Lee Hyun-sik leaned closer to study the design. How many do we have? 237, General Yoon Sang-woo replied. Hidden in supply depots throughout human space. The aliens don't know they exist. The next design showed a warship larger than anything in the current human fleet. Its hull looked like it was made for war, with weapon ports covering every surface. The Indomitable, Lim Da-eun said. We've been building it in secret at the Titan shipyards. Captain Kim Tae-ho has been training a crew for 3 years. Dr. Park Yoon-ji studied the ship's specifications. This vessel is larger than most hegemony cruisers. How did we hide its construction? We listed it as a mining platform, the engineer replied. The aliens see what they expect to see. President Kang Ji-hoon stood up and walked to the main display. You're talking about war with species that have ruled the galaxy for millions of years. Species with technology we barely understand. Yes, Admiral Lee Hyun-sik said. But Dr. Park's research shows us something important about that technology. The xenobiologist activated her own display. It showed detailed scans of various hegemony species. I've studied every alien race we've encountered, she explained. The council species all evolved on worlds with low gravity, stable climates, and minimal radiation. Their bodies are adapted for perfect conditions. The display zoomed in on bone density comparisons. Human bones are 3 times denser than Vexthari bones. Our muscles generate twice the force of Morden crystal matrices. We heal faster, adapt quicker, and survive in conditions that would kill them. Earth is what xenobiologists call a death world, Dr. Park continued. High gravity, unstable weather, dangerous radiation levels, and constant evolutionary pressure. Most species consider planets like ours uninhabitable. General Yoon Sang-woo nodded approvingly. Which means we're tougher than they are. Much tougher, the doctor confirmed. But they have better technology and more ships. Engineer Lim Da-eun brought up another display. That's where Project Ragnarok makes the difference. We've reverse-engineered alien technology from crashed probes and disabled ships. Our new weapons combine human innovation with their advanced materials. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, President Kang Ji-hoon spoke. You're asking me to bet the survival of our entire species on secret weapons and biological advantages. No, Admiral Lee Hyun-sik replied. I'm asking you to bet on human ingenuity. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We've gone from stone tools to starships in 10,000 years. The Council sees us as primitive, but they're wrong. Dr. Park Yoon-ji added, every species in the hegemony has fought the same types of wars for millions of years. Formal battles with predetermined tactics. They've never faced an enemy that adapts as fast as we do. President Kang Ji-hoon looked around the table at each person. These were the best minds humanity had produced. Scientists, engineers, generals, and admirals who had dedicated their lives to protecting their species. What do you recommend? He asked. We send a response, Admiral Lee Hyun-sik said. Not with words, but with actions. The Admiral touched the display controls again. Now it showed a hegemony listening post on the edge of human space. The station monitored all human ship movements and communications. Captain Kim Tae-ho takes the Indomitable and destroys that station. We show the Council that humans don't surrender. When threatened, we fight back. Engineer Lim Da-eun smiled. The Indomitable has full stealth capabilities. They won't see it coming until it's too late. And after we destroy their station? President Kang Ji-hoon asked. Then we prepare for war, General Yoon Sung-woo said simply. Because the Council will see our response as proof that humans need to be exterminated. Dr. Park Yoon-ji looked worried. Are we sure this is the right choice? Once we attack them, there's no going back. Admiral Lee Hyun-sik stood up from the table. They killed 12 civilians to deliver their ultimatum. They want us to abandon our homes and live under their control. There was never any going back. President Kang Ji-hoon walked back to his chair and sat down heavily. The decision would affect every human being alive and all those yet to be born. Very well, he said finally. Captain Kim Tae-ho has permission to engage the enemy. God help us all. The meeting ended quickly after that. Each person left to prepare for what might be humanity's last war. But as they walked through the corridors of the defense complex, none of them looked afraid. They looked determined. In space above Earth, the Indomitable received its orders. Captain Kim Tae-ho read the message twice before addressing his crew. Today we send a message to the galaxy, he announced over the ship's communication system. When threatened with extinction, humans don't beg for mercy. We show our enemies what extinction really means. The great ship turned toward the outer reaches of human space. Its stealth systems activated, making it invisible to alien sensors. Humanity's answer to the Council's ultimatum was about to be delivered. Captain Kim Tae-ho watched the hegemony listening post grow larger on his main screen. The alien station looked like a giant flower made of metal, with sensor arrays spreading out like petals. It had monitored human space for decades, recording every ship movement and communication. Stealth systems holding steady, reported his navigation officer. They show no signs of detecting us. The Indomitable moved through space like a ghost. Its experimental hull coating absorbed sensor beams instead of reflecting them. To alien instruments, the massive warship simply didn't exist. Weapon status? Kim Tae-ho asked. Quantum disruption torpedoes loaded and ready, came the reply. All conventional weapons online. The captain studied the alien station's defensive systems. Force shields surrounded the structure, powerful enough to stop normal human weapons. But the quantum torpedoes weren't normal weapons. Target their central power core, he ordered. Single torpedo, maximum yield. The torpedo launched silently from the Indomitable's forward tube. It looked like a simple metal cylinder, but inside it carried technology that could tear holes in space itself. The alien station's shields detected the incoming weapon and tried to stop it. Energy beams lashed out, but the torpedo passed through them like they were made of light. When it reached the station's hull, the quantum warhead activated. Reality twisted. Space bent inward on itself, creating a sphere of absolute destruction around the station's power core. The alien structure folded like paper, its metal hull crumpling into nothing. In 3 seconds, the listening post was gone. Message sent, Kim Tae-ho said quietly, but even as the Indomitable turned back toward human space, larger forces were already moving. The Hegemony Council had decided that humanity's response proved their dangerous nature. War was now inevitable. Commander Park Jae-min stood on the observation deck of Kepler 442b's orbital defense platform. The colony world spun slowly below him, its cities glowing like scattered jewels in the darkness. 2 million humans called this planet home. Sir, his communications officer called out. Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures, multiple contacts approaching from the outer system. Park Jae-min moved to the tactical display. Red dots appeared at the edge of the sensor screen, moving fast toward the planet. As the computer analyzed the signatures, his blood ran cold. 67 ships, he said aloud. Vexathari battle configuration. His defense force consisted of 12 patrol ships and 36 automated weapon platforms. Against a hegemony invasion fleet, they might as well throw rocks. Send word to the surface, he ordered. All civilians to emergency shelters. Activate planetary defense grid. The young officer at the communications console looked scared. Sir, should we request surrender terms? No, Park Jae-min replied firmly. We fight. The hegemony fleet emerged, from faster-than-light travel like a swarm of angry insects. The ships were black and angular, designed to inspire fear as much as deal death. They formed attack formations with practiced precision. Queen Zilreth's voice came through the communication channels, speaking in her mechanical translation. "Human defenders," she announced. "Your species has chosen war over wisdom. We will demonstrate the price of defying the hegemony. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift." Park Jamin opened a channel to all human forces in the system. "This is Commander Park Jamin to all ships and stations. The aliens want us to surrender our homes, our families, and our freedom. I say we give them something else instead." He paused, looking out at the approaching fleet. "We give them hell." The battle began when the Vexthari fired their first volley. Energy beams lanced through space, striking the outer defense platforms. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers as human weapons were destroyed. But the humans struck back immediately. Dr. Oh Hyejin's research had revealed something crucial about alien shield technology. The defensive barriers cycled through different frequencies every few seconds, following predictable patterns. "All ships, adjust weapons to frequency 77 Alpha, Park Jamin ordered. "Fire on my mark." Human laser cannons and missile systems retargeted themselves in real time. When the alien shields shifted to their vulnerable frequency, every human weapon fired at once. The coordinated attack overwhelmed 3 Vexthari cruisers. Their shields collapsed and their hulls cracked open, spilling atmosphere and crew into space. The alien fleet commander had not expected effective resistance. The Queen's intelligence report suggested human weapons were primitive and their tactics predictable. But these humans adapted their strategy during the battle itself. "Impossible," the Vexthari fleet commander buzzed to his subordinates. "How did they know our shield frequencies?" The answer came in the form of more precisely timed attacks. The humans had learned to read alien technology in real time, turning the hegemony's own predictability against them. But numbers still mattered. For every alien ship destroyed, the Vexthari destroyed 5 human vessels. Slowly but steadily, the defense force was being overwhelmed. That's when Sergeant Bei Wu Jin's ground forces proved their worth. The alien landing ships hit the planet's surface like meteors. Vexthari warriors poured out, their insect-like bodies, moving fast across the rough terrain. They expected to face frightened civilians and scattered military units. Instead, they met Sergeant Bei Wu Jin and his soldiers waiting in prepared positions. The first alien squad advanced through a mountain, passed toward the capital city. Their energy weapons swept the rocky slopes, searching for human defenders. They found them in the worst possible way. Bei Wu Jin led the attack personally, charging down from hidden positions with his assault rifle firing. The aliens tried to respond, but their movements were too slow and their coordination too rigid. Human soldiers moved like water, flowing around alien positions and striking from unexpected angles. What the Vexthari had learned as formal combat doctrine, humans ignored completely. "Their exoskeletons are tough," Bei Wu Jin reported over his radio. "But they crack easily under direct pressure. Aim for joint connections." The advice spread quickly through human forces. Soldiers adapted their tactics, targeting weak points in alien armor. Within hours, the ground war had turned into a nightmare for the invaders. The Vexthari warriors were stronger than individual humans, but they had evolved for hive-based cooperation. They expected orders from commanders and predictable enemy behavior. Human soldiers gave them chaos instead. Small units struck without warning, then vanished into terrain. The aliens couldn't navigate effectively. Improvised explosives destroyed landing zones. Sniper teams picked off commanders from impossible distances. Most importantly, humans fought with a fury the aliens couldn't understand. These weren't professional soldiers following orders. These were people defending their homes and families. Battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Vexthari fleet had withdrawn, leaving behind their dead and wounded. The colony was saved, but at terrible cost. Commander Park Jamin counted the losses from his damaged command center. 8 of his 12 ships were gone. 22 defense platforms had been destroyed. Nearly 3,000 human civilians and soldiers had died. But they had won. More importantly, they had shown the galaxy that humans could fight back effectively. News of the victory spread through quantum communication networks to every human colony and ship. Dr. Oh Hyejin compiled her battle reports with growing excitement. The aliens' technology was advanced, but it was also predictable. Their tactics were sophisticated, but they were also inflexible. They're used to fighting the same kinds of wars for millions of years, she reported to Admiral Lee Hyun-sik, but they've never faced an enemy that adapts as fast as we do. The Admiral studied the tactical data from Kepler 442b. Already Hitai was planning counterattacks on hegemony supply bases. If humans could capture alien technology and learn how it worked, they might level the playing field. How quickly can we reverse engineer their equipment? He asked. Give me their shield generators and I can have working prototypes in 6 months, Dr. O replied. Give me their faster-than-light engines and we can coordinate attacks across multiple star systems. Admiral Lee Hyun-sik smiled grimly. The Hegemony Council had wanted to teach humanity a lesson about their place in the galaxy. They were about to learn a lesson themselves. Queen Zilrith received the battle reports in her private chambers. The loss of ships and warriors was painful but acceptable. What bothered her was how quickly the humans had adapted to hegemony technology. They learned our shield frequencies during the battle, her fleet commander reported. Somehow they analyzed our defensive systems in real time and adjusted their weapons accordingly. The Queen's compound eyes reflected the light from her chamber's displays. How is that possible? Unknown, Your Majesty, but it suggests their technology is more advanced than our intelligence reports indicated. Queen Zilrith dismissed the commander and sat alone with her thoughts. The humans had surprised her, but the war was far from over. The hegemony had resources and weapons the primitive species hadn't even imagined. Still, something about their resistance troubled her. Most species fought desperately when first attacked, then accepted defeat when they understood the odds against them. These humans seemed to fight harder the more hopeless their situation became. Perhaps that was why they had survived on. Scientist Han Dong-hyun worked without sleep in the captured alien technology lab. Around him, pieces of destroyed Vexthari ships covered every work table. Broken shield generators, damaged weapon systems, and intact computer cores created a puzzle that could change the war. The frequency modulation patterns are incredibly complex, he explained to Admiral Lee Hyun-sik during their morning briefing. But they follow mathematical rules. Once we understand the rules, we can predict every change. The Admiral watched as Han Dong-hyun activated a captured shield generator. The alien device hummed to life, creating a blue energy barrier in the air. Now watch, the scientist said. He fired a human laser at the shield. The beam bounced off, harmlessly. Then he adjusted the laser's frequency and fired again. This time the beam passed right through the barrier. We can now build weapons that automatically adjust to match any hegemony shield, Han Dong-hyun continued. But that's not the best part. He led the Admiral to another workstation where a sleek device sat under bright lights. It looked like human technology, but with alien components integrated throughout. Faster-than-light communication array, he explained. Based on their quantum entanglement networks, we can now coordinate attacks across dozens of star systems simultaneously. Admiral Lee Hyun-sik studied the device carefully. How long before we can install these on our ships? The first units are already being manufactured, Han Dong-hyun replied. Within 3 months, every human fleet will have real-time communication across the galaxy. This breakthrough came at the perfect time. Colonel Lee So-young's Special Operations teams had been gathering intelligence throughout hegemony space, and their reports painted a clear picture of alien weaknesses. Colonel Lee So-young crouched in the ventilation shaft of a Morden command station. Below her, crystalline aliens discussed battle plans in their musical language. The translation device in her ear converted their words into understandable speech. The humans fight without proper coordination, one alien was saying. Their ships attack randomly with no central strategy, yet they inflict significant damage, another replied. Our losses exceed acceptable parameters. Lee So-young recorded everything while studying the aliens' behavior. The Morden were beautiful creatures, their crystal bodies catching and reflecting light in rainbow patterns. But their beauty hid a crucial weakness. They were utterly predictable. Every decision went through proper channels. Every attack followed established doctrine. Every response matched predetermined protocols. The hegemony species had become so civilized that they had forgotten how to adapt. Her mission was to plant listening devices throughout the station, but an opportunity presented itself. The aliens were planning a major assault on 3 human colonies simultaneously. If she could sabotage their coordination systems, the attack would fail. Lee So-young moved through the ventilation network like a ghost. Her small size and human flexibility let her reach areas no alien could access. Within 2 hours, she had placed quantum disruptors in 12 critical systems. When the Mordoon tried to launch their assault, their communication networks failed at exactly the wrong moment. Ships received conflicting orders. Fleet formations broke apart. What should have been a coordinated attack became chaos. The human colonies not only survived, but launched counterattacks that destroyed half the alien fleet. Captain Jung-Min Ho stood on the bridge of the Retribution. Humanity's first ship equipped with hybrid technology. Human engineering combined with alien materials had created something neither species could have built alone. Approaching the Mordoon homeworld's orbital defenses, his navigation officer reported. 63 weapons platforms detected, multiple shield generators active. The Retribution looked like a human ship from the outside, but its interior revealed the changes. Alien shield generators hummed next to human weapon systems. Faster-than-light engines used technology from 3 different species. The ship's computer could analyze and adapt to enemy systems in real time. All weapons target their primary shield generator, Jung-Min Ho ordered. Use rotating frequency patterns. Don't let them adapt to our attack. The battle began with a massive exchange of energy beams. The Mordoon defenses fired with mathematical precision, their attacks perfectly coordinated. But the Retribution moved like a living thing, dodging and weaving through the weapon's fire. Human pilots had learned to fly by instinct and improvisation. Alien pilots followed programmed flight patterns. Against most enemies, the programmed patterns worked perfectly. Against humans, they were predictable enough to exploit. Jung-Min Ho's ship danced between energy beams that should have destroyed it. When the aliens adjusted their targeting, the Retribution was already somewhere else. Their orbital platforms are trying to form a coordinated firing pattern, the tactical officer reported. They're moving into position for a focused assault. Perfect, Jung-Min Ho replied. When they concentrate their fire, hit them with everything we have. The Mordoon defense platforms moved with crystal precision, arranging themselves for maximum firepower. It was exactly what Jung-Min Ho had hoped they would do. The Retribution launched every weapon it carried in a single devastating volley. Quantum, torpedoes, adaptive energy beams, and kinetic penetrators struck the alien formations from multiple angles. The coordinated alien formation became its own weakness. When the platforms moved close together for concentrated fire, they also became concentrated targets. 7 platforms were destroyed in the first exchange. The survivors tried to reorganize, but human weapons kept adapting faster than alien shields could compensate. Within 4 hours, the Mordoon homeworld's orbital defenses were gone. Dr. Park Yoon-ji studied the intelligence reports coming in from across the galaxy. Her xenobiology research had expanded into something much more important, understanding how alien societies functioned. The Hegemony Council is fracturing, she reported to President Kang Ji-hoon. 3 member species have already approached us with secret communications. The president looked up from the military reports covering his desk. What kind of communications? Intelligence about hegemony fleet movements, offers to provide safe passage through their territory, requests for non-aggression treaties. Dr. Park smiled. They're hedging their bets. This made perfect sense from a survival perspective. The hegemony species had dominated the galaxy for so long that they had forgotten what real war looked like. When faced with an enemy that actually fought back effectively, some of them were reconsidering their allegiances. The Calarian Confederacy has offered to share Vexithari ship specifications, Dr. Park continued. The Nexari want to establish trade agreements, Even some Mordoon crystal colonies are questioning the wisdom of fighting humans. President Kang Ji-hoon walked to his office window, which showed the lights of Earth's cities spreading across the night side of the planet. How is the council leadership responding? Panic, Dr. Park replied simply. Queen Zilrith has ordered attacks on any species that communicates with humans. Elder Kethvos wants to negotiate before the situation gets worse. The other council members are split between immediate surrender and total war. This was exactly what Admiral Lee Hyun-sik had hoped would happen. The hegemony's greatest strength was its unity. Once that unity cracked, their technological advantages would matter less. What do you recommend? The president asked. Keep winning battles, Dr. Park said. Every human victory makes more aliens question whether they're on the right side. But we need to be careful not to appear as conquerors ourselves. The xenobiologist pulled up a galaxy map showing current battle zones. Human forces were attacking hegemony supply bases and communication networks throughout space. Each victory gathered more alien technology and demonstrated human capabilities. We should offer protection to any species that wants to leave the hegemony, she suggested. Show them that humans fight for freedom, not domination. President Kang Ji-hoon nodded approvingly. Draft the offer. Make it clear that any species willing to break with the council will have human protection. Within days, the offer was being broadcast throughout the galaxy. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Dozens of smaller species requested human assistance. Several hegemony member worlds declared independence from the council. Queen Zilrith watched her ancient alliance crumble with growing fury. The humans were not just winning battles. They were destroying the political structure that had maintained galactic peace for millions of years. Order all fleet commanders to priority target human communications, she commanded her subordinates. Cut off their ability to coordinate these political operations, but it was too late. Human quantum communication networks were already spreading faster than hegemony forces could track them. Every day brought new allies to the human cause and new defections from the council. Elder Kethvos approached the queen during a private moment. His crystal form seemed dimmer than usual, as if the stress was affecting his internal light. Your Majesty, he said carefully, perhaps we should consider negotiating with the humans. Our position grows weaker each day. Queen Zilrith's insect, eyes fixed on the elder with cold fury. The humans are a disease that must be eliminated completely. We will not negotiate with a plague. But our allies are abandoning us, Kethvos protested. Our fleets are being... Admiral Shin Kyung-mi stood before the largest tactical display ever built by human hands. The holographic map showed the entire galaxy, with red dots marking hegemony homeworlds and blue dots showing human fleets. Today would determine whether humanity survived or joined the countless extinct species scattered across the universe. Operation Prometheus is ready to begin, she announced to the assembled fleet commanders. 12 simultaneous attacks on 12 homeworlds. We end this war in one coordinated strike. The plan was ambitious beyond anything humans had ever attempted. Every available ship, every trained soldier, and every advanced weapon would be committed to the assault. If it failed, humanity would have no reserves left to continue fighting. But Admiral Lee Hyun-sik had designed the operation with ruthless precision. Intelligence from Colonel Lee So-young's teams revealed that hegemony defenses were strongest when concentrated, but vulnerable when forced to defend multiple targets simultaneously. Remember, Admiral Shin Kyung-mi continued, we're not just fighting for our survival anymore. 47 alien species have requested human protection from hegemony retaliation. We fight for all of them. Captain Kim Tae-ho listened from the bridge of the rebuilt Indomitable. His ship had been upgraded with the most advanced human technology available, including engineer Kim Young-soo's newest creation, Nova weapons. Nova system status? He asked his weapons officer. All systems green, Captain. Stellar destabilization charges are loaded and ready. The Nova weapons represented humanity's ultimate expression of total war. Instead of simply destroying ships or planets, they could trigger instability in stars themselves. Entire solar systems could be turned into weapons against the enemy. Kim Young-soo had presented the weapons to President Kang Ji-hoon with obvious reluctance. "These devices can kill billions of people in minutes," he had warned. "Once we use them, the galaxy will see us as monsters." "The galaxy already sees us as monsters," the president had replied. "The question is whether we'll be living monsters or dead ones." The attack began at exactly the same moment across 12 star systems. Human fleets emerged from faster-than-light travel with weapons already firing. The element of surprise gave them crucial advantages in the opening minutes of each battle. Major Choi Hai-wan led the ground assault on the Vexthari homeworld. Her transport ships punched through orbital defenses while the Queen's fleet was distracted by Admiral Shin Kyung-mi's space forces. "Remember, we're fighting insects," she told her soldiers over the communication network. "They're fast and strong, but they rely on pheromone communication. Disrupt their chemical signals and they become confused." The human forces had learned to exploit every weakness in alien biology. Smoke grenades designed to block insect pheromones were standard equipment. Sonic weapons disrupted crystalline alien structures. Electromagnetic pulses interfered with energy-based life forms. Most importantly, human soldiers fought with individual initiative while alien warriors relied on central coordination. When human troops scattered and regrouped unpredictably, alien formations couldn't adapt fast enough to respond. Choi Hae-wan's forces landed in the capital city of the Vexthari homeworld, like a storm of controlled violence. They moved through urban terrain with deadly efficiency, targeting communication centers and command structures. The insect aliens tried to respond with their traditional swarm tactics, but humans had studied those tactics for months. Every anticipated alien move was countered by prepared human responses. "Objective secured," Choi Hai-wan reported as her soldiers captured the Queen's primary hive complex. "Vexthari command structure is neutralized." Similar reports came in from other assault teams across the galaxy. Human forces were not just winning, they were dominating battles that should have been impossible victories. Engineer Kim Young-soo monitored the Nova weapons from his command center on Earth. The stellar destabilization devices were positioned throughout hegemony space, ready to turn stars into weapons if the conventional assault failed. "Sir," his chief technician reported, "we're receiving surrender offers from 6 hegemony worlds already." The young engineer studied the tactical displays with mixed emotions. The Nova weapons were incredibly effective as psychological tools. The mere threat of turning stars into supernovas was enough to break enemy morale, but he knew that using them would change humanity forever. A species that could destroy solar systems would be feared throughout the galaxy for millions of years. "Any word from the primary targets?" he asked. "The Vexthari homeworld has fallen. 3 Mordun crystal colonies have surrendered, but Queen Zilreth's personal fleet is still fighting, and Elder Kethvos has activated some kind of ancient defense system." Kim Young-soo pulled up the sensor readings from the Mordun homeworld. Energy signatures unlike anything in human databases were appearing throughout their star system. "What is that?" he wondered aloud. The answer came in the form of a message, broadcast on all frequencies. Queen Zilreth's voice, translated into every known language, echoed across the galaxy. "Primitive humans," she announced, "you have forced us to reveal our ultimate power. Behold the weapons that maintained peace for 10 million years." On the tactical displays, massive structures began emerging from hyperspace around several hegemony worlds. They were enormous, each one the size of a small moon, and they radiated energy patterns that made human sensors scream warnings. "Planet killers," Admiral Lee Hyun-sik said quietly from his command ship. "They've kept world-destroying weapons hidden all this time." The first weapon targeted the human colony on Proxima Centauri. A beam of pure annihilation lanced across space, powerful enough to crack a planet's core and boil away its atmosphere. But Captain Kim Tae-ho was ready. The Indomitable intercepted the planet-killer beam with its own hull, using experimental shields to absorb and redirect the energy. The ship was destroyed instantly, but the colony survived. Kim Tae-ho's last transmission was simple. For humanity. His sacrifice gave engineer Kim Young-soo the authorization he needed. "All Nova weapons, immediate activation," he ordered. Target every star system with active planet killer weapons. The stellar destabilization devices triggered simultaneously across hegemony space. Stars that had burned steadily for billions of years suddenly began to collapse and explode. The energy released was beyond human comprehension, turning entire solar systems into expanding waves of destruction. Queen Zilrith watched her homeworld star begin to die and realized that the humans had been holding back their most terrible weapons just as the hegemony had. Impossible, she buzzed to her remaining commanders. How do primitive species possess such technology? The answer was simple. Humans were not primitive. They were adaptive, innovative, and utterly ruthless when fighting for survival. The hegemony had made the mistake of judging them by their age rather than their capabilities. Elder Kethva sent a desperate message on all frequencies. Cease fire. We surrender. The Hegemony Council formally surrenders to human forces. But it was too late to stop the Nova weapons. 3 hegemony star systems were already dying, their populations evacuating in panicked fleets that scattered across the galaxy. Admiral Shin Kyung-mi coordinated the rescue efforts even as she accepted alien surrender offers. Human ships moved to evacuate civilian populations from the dying systems, showing mercy to the same species that had threatened extinction for all humanity. Sir, her communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender messages from all remaining hegemony worlds. Total unconditional surrender. The Admiral looked at the tactical display showing the expanding supernovas where 3 star systems used to exist. The war was over, but the cost had been enormous. Send a message to President Kang Ji-hoon, she ordered. Operation Prometheus is complete. The hegemony no longer exists as a military force. In the ruins of the Vexthari capital, Major Choi Hae-won found Queen Zilrith hiding in her personal chambers. The massive insect queen was wounded and surrounded by the bodies of her guards. Human warrior, the queen said through her translation device. Your species has won. What do you demand of the defeated? Choi Hae-won studied the alien ruler who had threatened to exterminate humanity. She thought of Captain Kim Tae-ho's sacrifice, of the billions of people who had died in the war, and of the responsibility that came with victory. We demand that you never threaten another species again, she replied. The age of hegemony rule is over. The age of human protection has begun. Queen Zilreth's compound eyes reflected the light from the fires burning throughout her city. And, if we refuse? Major Choi Hae-won gestured toward the window, where the light from 3 dying stars was visible even during daytime. Then you'll learn what extinction really means, she said quietly. The Queen understood. Humanity had not just won the war. They had demonstrated the will to destroy entire civilizations if threatened. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. Forever. From this day forward, when alien species encountered humans, they would remember the fate of the Hegemony Council, and they would choose cooperation over conflict. President Kang Ji-hoon stood in the Great Assembly Hall of New Geneva, looking out at representatives from 87 different species. The hall had been built to accommodate the galaxy's new reality, humans at the center of interstellar politics, surrounded by allies who had once served the Hegemony Council. 10 years had passed since the war ended. The 3 dying star systems served as permanent reminders of what happened to species that threatened humanity with extinction. But today's ceremony was about the future, not the past. The new Galactic Assembly recognizes the sovereign rights of all member species, President Kang declared in his opening address. Under human protection, no species will face the choice between surrender and obliteration. Ambassador Cho Min-ae watched from the diplomatic section, remembering the day she had stood in the old hegemony chamber receiving their ultimatum. Today she held the position of Secretary General for Interspecies Relations, helping to write laws that would govern the galaxy for generations. The irony was not lost on her. The aliens had demanded that humans return to their single star system and accept guidance from older, wiser species. Instead, humanity now guided dozens of civilizations and controlled territory spanning thousands of light years. Dr. Park Yoon-ji approached the podium to deliver the annual xenobiology report. Her research had expanded far beyond simple alien anatomy to encompass the social and psychological factors that determined which species thrived and which ones stagnated. Evolutionary pressure creates adaptability, she explained to the assembled delegates. Species that evolved in comfortable environments often lose the ability to change when circumstances demand it. The former hegemony members are learning to adapt, but the process is slow and difficult. In the audience, former Queen Zilreth listened through her translation device. The once mighty ruler of the Vexthari was now a simple delegate, representing her species' interests. Her people had survived, but they would never again command fleets or threaten other worlds. Elder Kethvos sat nearby, his crystal structure dimmed with age and defeat. The Morden had adapted better than most former hegemony species, using their natural precision to become valuable engineers and technicians in human projects. The key to successful adaptation, Dr. Park continued, is accepting that change is necessary for survival. Species that resist change become extinct. Species that embrace change become stronger. Admiral Lee Hyun-sik walked through the memorial gardens outside the assembly hall. Each tree represented a human ship lost during the war, and each flower honored the civilian casualties. At the center of the garden stood a statue of Captain Kim Tae-ho, whose sacrifice had saved Proxima Centauri from annihilation. The old admiral was retired now, but his influence still shaped human military doctrine. The defense fleet he had built was larger and more advanced than any force in galactic history. More importantly, it was spread throughout human space to protect not just human colonies, but the dozens of species that had requested protection. Engineer Lim Da-yoon joined him at the memorial, carrying reports from the latest weapons development projects. Even in peacetime, humanity continued to innovate and advance their technology. The new shield generators are ready for fleet deployment, she reported. Quantum efficiency is up 30% from the previous design. Admiral Lee studied the technical specifications with professional interest. And the Nova weapons? Safely stored in classified locations, she replied. We've built 17 more since the war ended, but the President has strict controls on their deployment. The old soldier nodded approvingly. The Nova weapons were humanity's ultimate deterrent, but they were also its greatest responsibility. The power to destroy star systems came with the obligation to use that power wisely. Any species can develop planet-killing weapons given enough time, he observed. The challenge is developing the wisdom not to use them. Lim Da-eun looked at the memorial statue of Captain Kim Tae-ho. Do you think we've become the very thing the Hegemony Council feared? Admiral Lee considered the question carefully. The hegemony feared human expansion and growth. They were right to fear it, but for the wrong reasons. They thought we would become conquerors. Instead, we became protectors. In the Deep Space Monitoring Station orbiting Alpha Centauri, Colonel Lee So-young reviewed intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Her special operations team still moved through space like ghosts, but now they gathered information about potential threats to galactic stability rather than enemy military positions. Any signs of new hostile civilizations? Asked her deputy, Major Kim Soo-jin. 3 possible contacts in the outer spiral arms, Lee So-young replied. Long-range sensors suggest advanced technology and aggressive expansion patterns, but they're at least 50,000 light-years away. The colonel studied the star charts with experienced eyes. Humanity had learned that the galaxy was vast beyond imagination, filled with countless species at different stages of development. Some were peaceful traders, others were dangerous predators. Continue monitoring, she ordered. If they become a threat to our protected species, we'll need advance warning. The standing orders were clear. Any civilization that threatened human allies would face the same choice the Hegemony Council had received. Peaceful coexistence or complete destruction. There would be no middle ground. Dr. Oh Hee-jin worked in her laboratory on Earth, studying samples from newly discovered alien technologies. The war had ended, but scientific research continued at an accelerated pace. Every new discovery strengthened humanity's position in the galaxy. The energy patterns in these crystals are unlike anything we've seen before, she explained to her research team. They seem to store information in quantum states that exist outside normal space-time. The implications were staggering. If humans could understand this technology, they might develop communication systems that worked across galactic distances instantly, or weapons that could strike targets in different dimensions. But the research also raised ethical questions. How much technological advancement was too much? At what point did human capabilities become so overwhelming that other species had no choice but to submit or die? President Kang Ji-hoon visited the laboratory regularly to discuss these concerns. The burden of leading humanity through its transformation, from threatened species to galactic superpower, weighed heavily on his shoulders. "We must never become what the hegemony was," he told Dr. Oh during one of their meetings. "Power without wisdom leads to tyranny. Strength without mercy leads to extinction." The scientist nodded, but she also understood the practical realities. The galaxy contains species that view mercy as weakness and diplomacy as an opportunity for treachery. Sometimes overwhelming force is the only language they understand. Ambassador Cho Min-ae stood once again in a diplomatic chamber, but this time she was the one delivering ultimatums. The Corvan Empire had been raiding planets throughout the Outer Rim, enslaving weaker species and strip mining their worlds. "The new Galactic Assembly offers you the same choice we offered the Hegemony Council," she announced to the Corvan delegation. "Cease your aggressive actions and accept peaceful coexistence, or face the consequences of continued hostility." The lead Corvan delegate was a massive creature covered in bony plates and natural weapons. His species had evolved as apex predators, and they had never encountered anything capable of challenging their dominance. "Humans," he growled through his translation device, "your reputation is built on the destruction of weak insect creatures and fragile crystal beings. The Corvan Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds. We do not fear your threats." Cho Min-ae activated the chamber's main display. It showed real-time images of the 3 dead star systems where hegemony worlds used to exist. "The Vex Thari conquered 10,000 worlds over millions of years," she replied calmly. "The Morden controlled trade routes across half the galaxy. The Hegemony Council ruled unopposed for longer than your species has existed." The display zoomed in on the expanding supernovas, still growing as stellar material continued to explode outward. "They all made the same mistake you're making now," she continued. "They assumed that previous victories guaranteed future survival. They learned otherwise." The Corvan delegate studied the images with growing unease. His species understood violence and destruction, but the scale of what humans had done was beyond their experience. "What do you want from us?" he asked finally. "Withdrawal from all occupied worlds within 1 standard year," Cho Min-ae replied. "Reparations for enslaved populations. Acceptance of assembly oversight for all future expansion. The same terms we offered the hegemony." "And if we refuse?" Ambassador Cho looked at the alien predator with calm, steady eyes. "Then you'll discover why the galaxy now speaks human as its primary language." The Corvan delegation departed without giving an immediate answer, but their body language suggested they understood the choice they faced. Submit to human authority or join the hegemony in extinction. Admiral Shin Kyung-mi reviewed the final reports from Operation Prometheus. On the 10th anniversary of its completion, the simultaneous assault on 12 homeworlds had broken the hegemony's power forever, but it had also established humanity as the galaxy's dominant military force. Total casualties: 47 million across all participating species, she